Hello and welcome to the NHL Best Bets. Even though March Madness is in full swing, we had good games also in Ice Hockey Arena last night, and unfortunately, Montreal Edmonton game was postponed due to COVID issues, but Colorado played in Arizona as they have been playing recently, convincing 5-1 victory and over 5.5 goals. It was a last-second goal there to go over, but this time it was enough. Quite well, like we predicted, this Colorado-Arizona game, or what do you think, Tommy?
Yeah, it was exactly as we predicted. Luckily, got the bounce in the end, 11 seconds before the final whistle. But we take all the wins we can, so no problem there. It was like we predicted. Colorado capable of scoring themselves that 5-6 goals in a game, so it was a good result. Of course, a little bit disappointing for Arizona. They had a couple of chances they could have scored. So my result would have been 2-5, but it was 1-5 this time. So it's all right. We can take it. And Colorado now showed that they are capable of scoring. They finally found the way to find the back of the net, because they did create the most chances in the NHL for the start of the season. They were leading that statistic quite clearly, and now they've started to fire it in. So I think Colorado is something of a team to look for in these overs, and also, of course, winning games, because you only win games in NHL by scoring goals. And sad thing about the Montreal Edmonton being postponed, because I think that would have been an excellent game as well. Let's see if we pick that one whenever they get back in business and play it again.
Few other games what we discussed yesterday. Ottawa had issues before the game related to goalie, but during the game, this Philip Gustafsson showed that he's the man. And Ottawa won 2-1 against Calgary, even though Calgary outshoot Senators quite clearly.
Yeah, great value pick there for Ottawa. Of course, we had issues finding the goaltender for that team, but Philip Gustafsson, of course, arrived in the summertime, I think, and not played a lot. He was changed in the previous game in the third period, so had a little bit of a warm up there in a game they lost, but now played really well for Ottawa. So there is an unknown Swedish guy who came in and took the points for the Senators. So a good game from that team as well. Like we've seen previously, how Ottawa can win the games, either shut down the opponent and then strike back when they can. They have a lot of talented young guys who can score if given the chance, but they do have to play defensively, and that's the way they can grind out these games. And then to look at Calgary, they do play quite similar way. They are very defensive, at least at the moment, maybe building up from the defense after a very disappointing start of the season. So it is a team that is likely to play a lot of low-scoring games as well.
Then in the West Division, these home teams were pretty solid, except Colorado, like we earlier discussed. Vegas won 5-1, San Jose won LA, and Minnesota won Anaheim as expected. Do you think during the season this home field or home arena advantage is increasing, even though there's not too many spectators in every other arena except Calgary?
Yeah, I do think it plays a part, and bigger part coming towards the playoffs, and all the springtime is coming. It's nicer to play at home. Of course, there now some places have the attendance returning. There are people watching the games. I'm sure that's a big factor for the players, especially to get their game going in their home arena. Is probably gonna show a little bit more. Like we've seen from the archives we run, that the home teams have actually done pretty well when they are set favorites. So that hasn't changed a lot compared to other seasons, even if there hasn't been the home crowd support. So let's see what we are going to put the line into when we're making these picks.
Yeah, I think the favorites have been now performing a bit better than we expected or historically have been. So there are teams like, for example, Carolina 3-0, on the road against Columbus. Like we discussed, time for a bounce back for this much better team than Columbus. And same thing for Islanders. They won on the road during overtime. Philadelphia 1-2. Another great performance by the goalie there. But we'll see how the favorites continue their stride, because there are very, very few surprise teams during this season.
Yeah, it is only these individual games that we have found a lot of these surprise underdogs. For example, Chicago at times and Ottawa, of course, we picked pretty well. So I do think that in these very high odds for the underdogs, there is still value. But in general, it seems to be leaning towards the favorites more and more. So we might have to start picking the Vegas as well at some point, which we haven't. I think we haven't picked them a single time, because the system does not think that they are able to score as many goals as they actually have. So they are not creating that many chances, but they are putting the puck in the net. So it's a sign of a good team, of course. They play well defensively as well. So let's see how it goes. But it does seem that the favorites are getting better and better come the end of the season.
And naturally, if favorites are getting better and better, today we are going to pick the big underdog here in Chicago. Florida travels to Chicago, and the home team has very good value, plus 140. The game is much more even than bookmakers think. Florida is still a small favorite, but we think that Chicago will bounce back from the, let's say, not so great performances on the road when they are coming back to United Arena. And then other game here, Detroit goes to Nashville. There is not so great teams offensively, and there are also some injuries in Nashville. Good goaltending. Juuse Saros has been playing well after his injury, and Detroit sometimes can also put defensive effort there. I think especially now when they are on the road, that's only way how they can play in order to fight for the Finn. So under 5.5 goals, minus 116 is the second pick of tonight.
Yeah, it's always very good to pick against the trend. So we have the odds on our side in this case. These high odds for Chicago in a game that is probably going to be a lot closer. We do have Chicago as far as the favorites for this. 52% of the simulations believe that Chicago can take it. Most of it due to the fact that Kevin Lankinen is supposed to start. He's played really well. And Sergei Bobrovsky for Florida, not so well maybe. So that's one factor in there. Chicago had a rough trip to Florida. They lost 4 games in a row, first against Florida and then against Tampa Bay. So now they're returning home. They've had 2 days off. So I do think that they are going to be at their best in this return game to Chicago. And then again, Florida played last time against Tampa Bay. They did lose that game. They played pretty well. Their road trip continues then to Chicago. And I think this matchup is a very interesting one. Chicago, a little bit of this underdog, done a lot better than many predicted before the season. And Florida, of course, surprised many as well, but mostly in the offense. So I think Chicago is able to shut down Florida, and it will be a very close game. I'd say 2-2, 3-3 sort of game, and then the coin flip will go our way this time. And the second one, the under, is a no-brainer there. With these odds, again, we have this game going under for 64% in the simulations. Great goaltending for Nashville, a defensive team, even if they are without Roman Josi and Ryan Ellis probably for this game. They play extremely tight defense. Now they've found their way to win games, so I do think they're gonna try to just shut down Detroit and slow them down. Detroit, on the other hand, not a good team, and when you're not a good team, you play like basic ice hockey, so that means you're gonna play through the defense. I don't think there is gonna be more than 4 goals in this game, 3-0, 2-1, this sort of game. So neither team has productive offenses, and that's something of a problem for both of these. So I think under is an excellent pick here, and great value with those odds.
Then there are back-to-back game for Colorado and Arizona in Arizona, so same matchup what we had last time. Do you think it would go over again, or is there some kind of fatigue for the high-octane offense in Colorado?
I think it's going to be a similar game. Colorado played so well last night and managed to score goals from their chances. They keep doing that, and it will be an over game. In the simulations, we have 62% going over 5.5 goals, so would be another quite good pick. Of course, Arizona probably also learned something from last night, and I do think that they are capable of scoring 2, maybe even 3 goals, depending who is playing in the goal for Colorado. They did acquire Jonas Johansen from Buffalo. Did not impress there. One Buffalo reporter said that he was the worst goaltender he's seen in 19 years of covering Sabres. So not a big statement there for Johansson, but he's now in new environment. Could be starting. He was on the bench last night. So let's see. But that being said, I think Colorado is a lot better team, but I think the over and Colorado winning might be the best way to go here.
Then there are a few other games. Stanley Cup final rematch. Tampa goes to Dallas. Do you think Tampa continues to roll on and beat Dallas again?
Yeah, it's hard to go against Tampa Bay the way they are playing and have played through the season. I know that they are capable of even increasing that level of play. And Dallas then has been up and down all season. It's been very unpredictable and hard to predict team for us as well. The simulations are not entirely sure what to think of that outfit. So this time we do have Tampa Bay as clear favorite, 65% on the road, while the odds are around minus 150, which is 58%. So there is good value for Tampa Bay. And I do think that they are so much better team that if they just want to win, they will win this game.
How about at the end, if we take a short look of the overall performance of the simulations? So how Machine has been doing so far this season?
We're still doing pretty well, I'd say actually extremely well. The side value picks are 268 correct, 219 incorrect, and 1,243 profit. So it's a great result from these selections. Also money line, which we usually are a little bit less profitable. This time it's highly profitable, which also tells that the favorites have probably been able to win these closer games. So it's plus 3,860, which is a massive number. 307 correct picks, 180 incorrect. So that's 60% hit rate, which is extremely good. And then something that we can be very proud of is the totals, which is one of the hardest categories to get profits because of the odds that are always around that region of minus 100 or plus 100. So we have made a profit of 2,482 in that category. 207 correct picks, 174 incorrect. So we're not picking every game in here because sometimes there is no value, but if there is, we've been doing extremely well.
Those are great news because overall we want to show that this kind of simulation approach and qualitative plus quantitative approach is the one that provides best results overall with the big data, because as you can see, we are picking the games with somehow shooting the range, sometimes hitting, sometimes missing, but when the machine predicts every game, and if there we can make those kind of profits that you mentioned, the machine performs as expected or even beyond it.
Yeah, that's true. And what we do is we always try to pick up the best values from those that are available by the system. So it's not always the same game. So if you would want to make a real profit with it, you would use the system and go with all the games that are in the same range. So something we are not able to do in this video, but we will try to tell you as much as we can from those games as well.
And tonight we'll closely follow these 2 games and also the 3 others, because 5 games in tonight, and tomorrow we'll see how those 2 picks went compared to the machine 5 different games what they have simulated.
Yeah, 5 screens is okay to see the game, so
We'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.